Hello and welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Julia, I am a tarot coach and this is your weekly dose of mindful tarot coaching. 3 questions, 6 cards, several interpretations. As always, I invite you to listen carefully and keeping in mind that this is a general reading, pick up what resonates and following your gut feeling, creating your own meaning. Well, having said this, let's get started. And before we dive into the next week reading, I would like to very quickly recap the current week, so the previous week, because it is always a good idea to check in with the cards, especially approaching the weekend. This way, making sure we do not miss anything. Well, you may remember that the topic of the previous week was rebirth, renewal and the like, and this time the way of this renewal was a very shaky one, because we had the Tower and we had the reversed 6 or 8 of Wands, so there were very turbulent changes in the air. And I don't know how was your week, but speaking for myself, I can say yes, it is a super turbulent week. I really have to, I really have to hold on, and accordingly, I am kind of out of balance. And I have to remind myself all the time that everything that happens for the greater good, and in the long run, it is going to serve me. I think it is important to remind ourselves this from time to time, because these Tower experiences can be super shaky, super stressful, and it can bring up a lot of shit. This is what happens to me, at least. All right, having said this, now let's move and let's take a look at what cards do we have for the next week. Well, if I have to sum the next week up in some keywords, I would say drive, balance, and intuition. The main significator of the week is the Chariot. This card delivers a very strong male impulse. It is about drive, new impulses, going out, going for something and doing. As you can see the card, we have this handsome gentleman or lady who is leaving his castle in order to explore new horizons. And indeed, this is what this card is about. It is about finally starting a new project, going for something, getting a new impulse, having some drive. And in many cases, it is also about leaving your familiar ground, so leaving your comfort zone. Therefore, this card requires a lot of courage from us, and not only courage, but also a lot of focus and discipline, because as you can see here, we will have those different impulses, those different forces that may pull our chariot into different directions. And accordingly, in order to reach success, in order to be successful in this venture, you will have to maintain focus, discipline, you will have to remain goal-oriented, and you will have to make sure that you stay in the driver's seat. So keep this in mind, especially because the rest of the cards also confirm this kind of message, but about that later. First, let's take a look at the complementary card, which is the 10 of Coins. The 10 of Coins is all about success, abundance, security, and the like. We talk about here coins, so about the element Earth, which has to do with money, business, manifested things, physical things, body, and the like. And given that we have here a 10, we can talk about a very mature representation of this energy, a kind of a fulfillment, right? And accordingly, again, this card is pretty much about financial success, security, abundance, and the like. and slash, it is also about a secure environment like home, like the parental house, or the patriarch. You can see this old guy here who has worked all his life very hard, and now he can share this abundance with others. So if I put these cards together, I can come to several interpretations, and I would like to invite you to create your own one. However, I can throw in here, for example, 2 different interpretations. So it can be that the next week we are going to have some new impulse regarding some project related to the parental inheritance. Or it can be also that we finally start to realize and to our million business idea. Again, I invite you to create your own meaning. Now, let's take a look at the risks and potentials. And what we have here is a reversed hermit. This card reminds me Gandalf the Grey, and the color grey has a significance here. It means that we have united black and white, so we have gone beyond those polarities. And I am mentioned this aspect here because we already had here the topic of polarities, and therefore it can be a very interesting addition here. So as you can see, this old guy has reached some levels, some heights, because he is standing on the top of a mountain, but it's even more important that he is alone. He seeks isolation, withdrawal, in order to tune in, because he knows that the truth is inside. And indeed, this is what this card is about. That in order to figure out what is true, what is really important to you, you have to search inside, you have to seek within, and in order to do so, you need to seek solitude. You need to create time and space for tuning in. Well, given that this card has come up reversed, chances are that this week you are not going to find those space and room, and you may lose this connection. So please make sure that you try to remain connected. As a complementary card from the minor arcana, we have here a Knight of Wands, which is super interesting here and seemingly is in kind of contradiction to the Hermit. But it is very much in sync with the Chariot because it carries a very similar energy. They both have a very strong drive. And if you take a look at this guy or lady, you will see that he or she is full of enthusiasm. He has this drive and he is running on his horse into the battle, ready for doing, ready for action. And therefore it carries a great impulse, a very creative impulse, right? Full of fire, because we talk about the wands here. And this carries a great potential, but only if this impulse remains grounded, focused, and only if you have a kind of a plan. So make sure that you remain connected to yourself, that you stay in sync, and that you have a kind of a plan, you stay grounded, and you take only calculated risk before going for something, because otherwise things can go astray, you may end up frustrated, and this horse may run away with you, right? So again, this is a kind of a warning that yes, go for those impulses, but stay connected. Well, and now, last but not least, we have here 2 last cards that deliver advice for us. And the advice comes this time from the reversed High Priestess. And I find this card here super interesting because, as you may also see, this also carries the polarities on it, right? As we have seen already here. We have the black and white, right and left, male and female here as well, and therefore it is pretty much in sync with everything what we have seen so far. Why? Because the High Priestess is all about the female energies, right? So the opposite polarity of this card. It is about being patient, being calm. It is about inner wisdom, intuition, and the like. And therefore, it is a very interesting invitation to maintain those qualities, especially because this card has come up reversed. And this tells me that it is going to be especially important to maintain those female qualities so that you balance this strong male drive, and this way make sure that they don't go astray. This is one thing. Another important thing is, again, to listen to your intuition and to your inner voice, which is a very interesting reference back to the Hermit. So we have here two cards that invite us to create room and space for listening, for tuning in. And last but not least, a very interesting aspect of the High Priestess is time. What you can see on the top of her crown, or how do you call it, is that they kind of reflect or represent the different moon phases. And this is this refers to the fact that things need their time. Everything has his time. So if you go for something, you start manifesting, you start to realize something, you have to keep in mind that things need their time, and therefore you have to practice this other very interesting female quality, which is about patience. Well, last but not least, we have here as a complementary card from the Minor Arcana, a reversed Ace of Cups. The Ace of Cups is a beautiful card. In a normal position, it is about a new impulse, a new emotional or creative impulse. And it is also about self-love, self-acceptance, self-care. And yeah, given that it has come up reversed and complements this reversed High Priestess, I would say that in this case we have a very strong invitation for making sure that we take care of ourselves, that we know what kind of emotions are working in us. We tune in, we listen to those emotions, we process them, and we practice self-care, because keeping your cup is super important, because you can only give from a full cup, right? So this is one thing. Another very important thing is, again, to make sure that you remain balanced. Chances are that it can become emotional or shaky this week as well, and therefore make sure that, again, you have this balance, not only in the actions, but also in your emotions. And this is also confirmed if I take this reversed card as an invitation for getting back to the previous card in the sequence, which would be, in this case, where we have an ace, the King, right? And the King of Cups is about emotional balance. So again, make sure that you take care also not of your actions, not only of your actions, but also of your emotions, and you stay in alignment with yourself. You also check in with your emotions, you remain patient, and maintain those other female qualities that help you to keep balance. All right, now last but not least, let me very quickly show you the whole constellation. So again, the next week we are going to have probably a lot of impulses, which is a great stuff, because this way we can go for something very promising. and use those impulses for manifesting. However, it is going to be very important that we keep those we keep those energies in balance. And the way of doing so is going to be to maintain those female qualities, and first and foremost to listen to your inner voice. So make sure you create space and time for self-reflection, self-care, and tuning in. You can ask yourself the following questions. Do I have room and space for myself, for listening to my inner voice? How can I tune in so that I hear my inner voice? What is that I maybe don't want to hear? What emotions do I have? What is going on inside me? And how can I keep my cup full? How can I practice self-care? And in order to sum it up in one sentence, I would say, make sure to maintain balance by creating space for listening and self-care, because this way you can manage and manifest those wonderful things. Well, this is my interpretation. I am super curious about yours. You can comment about this in the comment section. And last but not least, a very quick note at the end. In case you would like to give a special gift for this time for Christmas for someone else or for yourself, you have this opportunity. Regarding this, you will find the details below in the description section. Well, thanks a lot for showing up. Thanks for being here, for listening. I wish you a wonderful week ahead. Keep balanced and take care of yourselves. Ciao.